Good evening, folks, and welcome to Here's the Deal. I'm your host, Shiloh, and we're here live from sunny North Dakota. It's kind of weird that I can say that now. Seems like winter has taken forever, but we were almost 80 degrees up here in the Williston area today. So, at any rate, tonight I'm looking forward to the show. I have a good friend of mine on tonight. He's running for the school board over there in Williston, and his name is John Wepasnick. And I asked him to be on this evening and talk a little bit about his candidacy and the election that is going to take place in June 13th here in Williston. So with that, I'm going to bring John on. Good evening, John. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Well, thanks for being on. So I would just like to start the show off by how you and I had met. So obviously we're both a part of a group called Sons of Liberty in North Dakota. And here I'm going to show this pin here that you're president. You are part of the Williston chapter. Your president, Dennis Nearing.
Yep.
Dennis Nearing, and he's been on the show before too. He gave me this pin here, and I was going to show that to everybody. So it's kind of a cool little deal. But at any rate, we're part of that group, and I think the first time I met you was when we were starting your guys' chapter over there in Williston. And I'll never forget it. I'm just going to tell this story here, John, and you can kind of back me up here on it because, of course, you were there.
Yeah.
So we were.
I know where you're going, and I was actually going to bring it up myself, but you go right ahead.
Yeah. All right. So we're in this room here in the motel that we're at, and I don't even remember what the name of the motel was, but at any rate, we're having a discussion about starting this chapter, and there's quite a few people up there, and we kind of got off topic. We're talking about different things of, the way the North Dakota political system looked and that. And I'll never forget it because this is about the second time that I got hit with this Bible verse. And the first being when Luke and I started this whole deal, and I was in the back of the barber shop with him, and we were doing a little Bible study, and it was the book of Ephesians 6:10. And I'll never forget it because in the middle of all this, it was just kind of everywhere. John stands up and goes, "Well, I've never been afraid to share the Lord's word." And that's when you had said that Bible verse. And I'm going, oh my goodness, because at that time I was in the middle of a school board election as well. And so I was, getting fire from all sides and different things. And so that's kind of been my verse, and so that was the second time in that amount of weeks that came out in public. So I don't know if you have how do you remember it, John? Am I accurate?
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And there was actually a lot of people there. I think that was actually, could it have been over in Tioga? And I don't normally just do that. I don't know hardly anybody there, but the Lord prompted me to read that passage from Ephesians 6, starts at 10 and goes down. And then afterwards we were in a room. There was some refreshments and stuff, and I sat down with you, and you shared that story, the backside of it, where the Lord had showed you that. So it was really a God moment, but that really leads into kind of what we're talking about tonight also, because our warfare isn't against flesh and blood, but it's against spiritual rulers in high places. And I would encourage people to go read that Ephesians 6, and it starts at 10 and goes down for I think probably to 15 or 16 if I remember right. But that is a really good verse for today, because it's so evident what we are up against, not just in our little communities and stuff, but it's all the way across the country. And that's actually, some of the reason that I felt led to run for the board there on District 7, because there's just a lot of things that aren't being done right. And at the end of the day, it's our children that are suffering, and we're not preparing them for life and for what they're going to have to face. So that's one of the reasons why I felt led to go ahead and run, and to try to have some change within our system, because I don't believe it's going in a very good direction. But yeah, so I just for people. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Charlotte. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I've lived in North Dakota on and off over 30 years. Yeah, this has been back in Williston like 16 years, but I lived here about 70 to 82 or 83 when everything died around here pretty much, and I moved to Minot. But yeah, I consider myself a North Dakota. Yeah. So.
Well, we're glad to have you. I know that's for sure. So, well, let's get right into it. I mean, we all know that with this audit that they did, and maybe not even Williston, but everywhere. I mean, the school system's a dumpster fire. Let's just put it that way. So, with that being said, where do you even start, John? I mean, what would be your first?
Well, it's accountability. It's accountability and integrity. When it comes to the finances and stuff like that, we just had a recent audit published. There's 21 points that the district was deficient in, and then on top of that, in 2015, they had a last audit, and they were deficient in some of the same things. So we've gone 7 years plus, and nothing has changed. Now, the school board has a fiduciary responsibility, and that means we're supposed to be out there for the best interests of the taxpayers, the parents, and everything, to do the best possible job. And it's another sad thing, and with this merger with District 8 and the Williston School District, District 8, they had perfect finances. They had been audited. Everything was perfect. They had $18 million. So they merged. They made all kinds of promises, which they haven't really fulfilled. And now we're facing all these financial discrepancies. So we've got 2 failing districts now, and it wasn't District 8's fault. I mean, I think it should go back to the way it was myself. But we suggested or asked that they do a forensic audit, and of course they refused that, and they said because of the costs, the state auditor said it cost about $135,000, and they're spending money left and right, getting special people to do studies on this and studies on that. I think it'd be a small price to pay to clear the air, and so that they could have their books straightened out, so they could actually start operating from a level playing field. So that's, I mean, you could talk forever, but it's just that's just one point that should be taken care of and straightened out. Yeah. So, but speaking of the money thing too, though, it would average out, I think, somewhere between $13,500 to $14,000 that we're paying per student to educate them. And like you or I, if you're going to buy a house or buy a car, you want to get value and this and that, and you want value for your money. And the kids, they're being graduated. They've lowered the bar on the standards, and the teachers, they cannot fail the kid. So they keep on pushing them through, and the 11th grade, they'd be sophomores, of course, and their grades almost 60%. I think it is 60% of the class in the math department is they're not there, unfortunately. I don't blame it on the kids. It's and I think we have good teachers. 30% of the teachers have master's degree within the system. So I believe we have good teachers and stuff. I say just let them do their job. And at the same time, we have to listen to the parents, because they're just shut down at these meetings. They're not allowed to really speak. If they want to talk about something, it has to be put on the agenda. And I get that, where they have business to take care of too. But if that's the case, then once a month, have an open meeting for parents and people to come and speak their mind, express their feelings, and get the stuff out of the air. Because I not just with my campaigning, but I'm always talking and visiting with people, and it's really amazing to me how people are really aware of what's going on. And I don't even hardly get started talking, and they say, well, there's things wrong there that have to be changed. And they're volunteering this stuff. And actually it comes from some people that you wouldn't expect it from. But people are very, very aware that the system is broken and it needs to be fixed. So,
I would agree. And that's the thing is how do we get people involved again? Because in my view, when I ran, John, when you heard from the teachers, it was, well, the parents aren't keeping the kids accountable either, which there is some of that. I mean, let's face it.
Yes.
And so, but I would, I just think that, and maybe you can chime in here a little bit, that it has to be a little bit between, the parents need to be involved, not just at the school board meetings, but at home. That's number one.
Yep.
Number two.
Yep.
Number two,
I agree with that. Yep.
The school board needs to start working for the parents again, and not the state. And it seems to me that I might be wrong, but it seems to me that the superintendents are the ones who are running the school board, and it should be the other way around. Because you're let me what do you think on that? Like when I ran for it, it was the school board is supposed to be the umbrella, and the parents are under that umbrella, and they work together to make sure what's going on, as far as what's being taught.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, well, I agree with you. The superintendent, he's a hired position. In my mind, he works for the school board. And the school board, in turn, we should be doing the best with the parents and the kids. And you're right. You can't put everything on the school system. Some of this has to be done at home also. And if the kids aren't getting disciplined at home, and then they go to school and they don't want to get disciplined in school. I mean, I hear stories all the time about the kids just getting up out of their seat and walking out of the classroom. And that alone, and there's disruptions. And I've heard of just terrible fights, but you never hear about it in the news, but you do hear about it or see about it in Facebook and one thing or another. So it's going on, but that stuff should be reported also. Parents should be made aware. And, the kids are at times they're in danger. And that's a major safety concern. Honestly, I've been going to school board meetings now for almost a year, and I expressed that same feeling because that topic came up. And I said that if I was in school and there was this much going on, I wouldn't want to go to school. Yeah, I just wouldn't want to be in that environment. I talked to a mom just the other day, and she's got a good kid, a good student. He wants to go, he wants to work, and the parents reward him. When they have good grades. I mean, it's reasonable rewards and stuff. But he's smart. He wants to learn, And he's just expressed it to his teacher at times that, there's so much noise here. So the teacher tries to protect him and put him into a side of the room that's not as noisy, but it shouldn't be in the first place. You should be able to have basic discipline within the school. And we're enabling those children to go through the whole school system and basically go out and not, how are they going to be able to contend with society if they've never been disciplined or anything? So
yeah, not. So in your mind, what do we need to do to get a better return for our money as far as the school, as far as the pupils and their scores and all that good stuff? I mean, where do we even begin?
Well, I'll be honest with you. It's not going to happen overnight. I'm not saying that to be a downer or anything.
No.
I mean, I'm encouraged and excited about that we can do something. And we do have another election round in August, and we have some more conservatives that are running, and the board's 7 people. And you can voice your opinion and stuff, and I do plan to do that and stand up for truth and the right thing. But it's going to be a process. But I believe it can be done with some of the ideas I've already said, and like you said too, with more parent involvement and sitting down and really talking things out and trying to come up with a plan. But I believe it can be done. I mean, I'm old school. Let's face it. I went to school for 3 hours and everything, but we were respectful and we learned. We got our basic education to where we could survive in life. And I mean, if they could do it back then without a fraction of the resources that they have nowadays, I do not see. There's absolutely no reason that we cannot provide better for our students or children. Yeah, I'll read you something here if you don't mind. It's North Dakota State the Constitution, Article 8, and it's on education.
Sure.
It's Section 1. A high degree of intelligence, patriotism, integrity, and morality on the part of every voter in a government by the people being necessary in order to ensure the continuance of that government and that prosperity and happiness of the people. The Legislative Assembly shall make provision for the establishment and maintenance of a system of public schools which shall be open to all children of the state of North Dakota and free from sectarian control. The legislative requirements shall be irrevocable without the consent of the United States and the people of North Dakota. And I'm going to read a couple more here that are short, but they're very right along the same topic. Now, Section 3, and all schools instruction shall be given as far as practicable in those branches of knowledge that tend to impress upon the mind the vital importance of truthfulness, temperance, purity, public spirit, and respect for honest labor of every kind. And the 4th, the Legislative Assembly shall take such other steps as may be necessary to prevent illiteracy, secure a reasonable degree of uniformity of course and study, and to promote industrial, scientific, and agricultural improvements. But that's it. That's right in our state constitution. So, do we see a picture of this happening today in our school systems? And I really like the one about temperance and purity. And we've had this conversation about the books that are not age appropriate in the library, and the school board has it in their power to just say no. We'll take them out. Those kids, if they want to read those books when they get older or whatever, they'll still be there. They don't need to have that stuff in their mind or in their face at the early age that they are. So,
I would agree with that. It's taken 50 years to get this way. I believe you're right. It's not going to happen overnight. So
But I'm optimistic. Unfortunately, it got that way. But there's nothing to say that it cannot be turned around and can be corrected. It's the president of the school board. It's interesting, and some people probably forgot about it. But the Williston Education Association, they were asking for his resignation in December. It's only 6 months ago. So, and you can actually go online. I suppose if you go to their site, you can find it. It was back in December. But if you read the excerpts and comments from the gentleman that presented it, it pretty much tells you in a nutshell of the issues that we're dealing with. Yeah. So, there's if you go to the meetings, I mean, pretty much it seems like almost everything's decided ahead of time. There's not really a lot of discussion or anything, and once in a while there's a no vote on an issue, but pretty much everybody just votes the same. And it's just like things are being rubber stamped. So.
So, and the president or the superintendent is the one who runs it, or is it the president of the school board, or who runs it?
I would have to say the superintendent and the president. Yeah, that's the way I perceive it. That they're the ones running it, and they pretty much call all the shots. Yeah, and here they. I know they're pushing to build 2 new schools, and I don't think they'll get by the bond issue and stuff like that. But with the merger with District 8, there were supposed to be no new schools built for 5 years. So here we're barely 2 years into this, and they're already wanting to build 2 new schools. And I don't think the city of Williston can afford it. The taxes are so high now that I mean, it's for retired people and stuff, they have a hard time making it. A lot of them have moved out of town actually because it wasn't financially able for them to live here anymore, which is kind of sad when they've lived here all their life. But it's
So what would you say is the biggest difference between you and your opponent? What would you like to see the biggest change?
Well, that's kind of a tough answer because I don't like to be judgmental and stuff. But from what I can see, he just goes along with the rest of the crowd, and some of the comments he's made, I really disagree with. So, at the end of the day, it should be about the kids. Yeah, the kids should be first. Yeah.
So. And I have your website up here, this WillistonKidsFirst.com. If you want to learn more about John and his campaign, I've had this up for nearly the whole show, and that is John's website to his campaign. So please, by all means, go out and check him out. He could certainly use everyone's support. So,
is that coming up, Shiloh?
Yep.
Okay. It's June 13th over at the Arc, and I would encourage people to get absentee ballots. I appreciate the vote. Yeah, I also run under get that Santa John. Yeah. Because I actually am a Santa. I love kids. I do it professionally, and that's kind of where my heart's at. So, yeah,
that is true. I remember seeing you over here in Ray when we did that event over there. That I think it was the Chamber of Commerce. I don't remember what they call it. Basically, people make donations, and then the community gets involved and they all meet at the senior center, and they're able to, the kids are able to pick stuff out and for little or nothing, and that's what they can get whoever they want to give a gift and all that stuff. So
it's called Acts of Kindness. Acts of Kindness is the organization, and I was over there twice, and I was supposed to be there this year too, and I got sick, and I just I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't want to pass anything on to anybody, and they understood. They're very gracious, but they're a great organization. And the last time I was there, they did over 200 kids, and I mean, they feed them, and they all get to sit on Santa's lap, and they have a photographer there, Shauna, and she does an excellent job too, and taking pictures of the kids, and yeah, it's a wonderful event, really. Yeah, they do a heck of a job. So
yeah. So with that, is there anything else you want to leave us with, John?
I'm thinking.
Right.
Not right off the top of my head. I think I've covered a lot of what the issues are. There's more, and you could talk on it forever. But I just it's we have to try to change this for the kids. They're at the end of the day, they are a responsibility, and we should try to be doing everything we can to get them an education. A good education. Yeah. So I guess that's where my heart's at. And I appreciate everybody's vote. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would encourage everybody to get out and vote on June 13th at the ARC. So that's another thing. They only have one polling place.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we've tried to get that changed. We have tried. We brought it up and stuff. And really, for a town of this size, if they had one at every school, that'd be 13 polling places. And in the past, that's basically what it was. You went and voted at the school, your local school. So that's another thing that I'm going to try to push for. That they have more polling places. And a lot of people, I mean, old school people, they want to put their ballot, they want to go and vote. And so it's I think it's something we need to fix that. We need to fix it. There should be no reason for a town of this size that we only have one polling place. I've talked to elderly people in my travels and stuff, and at the last presidential election, it was, they had to stand in line. It was cold, and it was a hardship for them. They still did it, but we shouldn't have to have that. We're out in North Dakota. We should be smart enough to be able to accommodate the people. That's what it's about. It's we the people, and we should be able to fix that. That shouldn't be a big issue.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I know. So just to put it in perspective, when you guys had your last school board meeting, or not meeting, sorry, I apologize. When you had your last school board election, there's 32,000 people in Williston, I think is what they said. Right around there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There was only 600, not 6,000, but 600 people who voted.
Yeah.
We need participation, people. That's the only way we're going to get this taken care of. We need participation.
I agree, but honestly, people are waking up. They really are. I mean, it's just amazing to me when I talk to people. They're aware of it. They want to see a change, and they're going to vote. But people are waking up. Yeah, they're tired of it. They're tired of it. So I'm believing that I will get in, and people will get out and vote. So
I hope so. I'm pushing for you, bud. So
well, I appreciate that. Yeah.
So well, with that, John, thank you for your time tonight. I'm going to put you back in the studio and sign off here, and then I'd like to visit with you just a little bit more before you go.
All right, buddy. All right. Thank you very much, Shiloh. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks for being on. So that's John Wepasnick, and he's running for the school board in Williston here. Here is his website, willistonkidsfirst.com. You can go out and check out his campaign. And you want to meet somebody who is truly for the kids first, I would say John is right there at the beginning of the line. So with that, I will see you guys next week at 8 o'clock Monday, 8 o'clock Central. I'll be making some announcements here on who will be the next guest here in the middle of the week or so. So have a good week and go out and enjoy the sunshine.